The message. At the entrance of his foundation stood a statue, two boys, one holding a white cane, the other guiding him with a smile. Beneath it, engraved in shining letters, were these words. Kindness is the only light that can make the blind see. People from all walks of life came to hear his story. Some cried, some smiled, all left with hearts a little softer. Because Armin's story wasn't just about luck or destiny, it was about humanity. About how one act of compassion can ripple across lives, heal wounds, and even reunite lost souls. Epilogue. Years later, on a bright spring morning, Armin stood outside the foundation watching children play. Beside him stood Ian, now a teenager with perfect eyesight. Ian nudged him. "You know, you still look like a street kid." Armin laughed. "And you still talk too much." They both smiled, knowing how far they had come. In the distance, Mr. Raymond watched them with pride. He had built empires, made millions, but his greatest wealth now stood right before him. Armin had changed his son's fate, and unknowingly, his own. Final message. The world doesn't always reward kindness right away. Sometimes, it tests you first, makes you believe you're small, forgotten, and alone. But if you keep doing good, if you keep helping others, one day the universe will open its arms and give you back everything you ever lost, 10 times over. Because true miracles don't happen in temples or churches. They happen on street corners, in quiet hearts, when one soul decides to help Ano. Moral. You don't have to be rich to change someone's life. You just have to care enough to try. The Millionaire's Secret. When Ian's father, Mr. Raymond, returned from a business trip abroad, he could hardly believe what he heard. His son, blind since birth, was regaining his sight. He rushed home, tears streaming down his face as he hugged Ian. "My boy. I can't believe it." Ian smiled. "Papa, I want you to meet someone." He took his father's hand and led him outside, where Armin stood awkwardly by the gate, holding his old shoeshine box. "Papa, this is Armin. He helped me see again." Mr. Raymond looked at the boy. His clothes were torn, his face tired, but his eyes, those eyes, were full of kindness. Something about him seemed strangely familiar. "You helped my son." Armin nodded shyly. "I just wanted him to see the world, sir. He's my friend." Mr. Raymond stepped closer. "What's your name again?" "Armin." "And your mother's name?" Armin looked down. "Syra. She died when I was little." Mr. Raymond's breath caught. He felt the world spin around him. "Syra," he whispered. "Was she from Lahore? Did she have a small birthmark on her left wrist?" Armin looked up in shock. "Yes, how do you know that?" Mr. Raymond's eyes filled with tears. He staggered back, clutching his chest. "Because, she was my wife." "The truth." Silence. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Mr. Raymond's voice trembled. "Many years ago, we had a terrible misunderstanding. I thought she left me, but I never knew she was pregnant. I searched everywhere, but she disappeared. Armin. I'm your father." Armin's heart pounded in his chest. His breath quickened, his mind spinning with disbelief. "You're my father," he whispered. Mr. Raymond nodded, tears streaming down his face. "Yes. And I can't believe I almost lost you too. You, my own son, saved your brother's sight." Ian stood between them, eyes wide, tears glistening. "Armin, you're my brother." Armin looked at both of them, this man who had everything, and this boy who had trusted him with his heart. His throat tightened. He couldn't speak. He just fell into his father's arms, sobbing. For the first time in 15 years, he felt something he'd never known, home. The new beginning. Months passed. Armin was no longer the barefoot boy on the street. He now lived with his father and Ian, in the same mansion with the golden lions on the gate. But he never forgot where he came from, or the people who still lived there. With his father's help, Armin started a foundation for poor children, especially those who couldn't afford medical care. He named it the Syra Foundation, after his mother. He would often visit the streets he once called home, bringing food, clothes, and medicine for others. When journalists asked him how he found the courage to change his life, Armin smiled and said, "I didn't find courage. I found kindness. The day I chose to help someone without expecting anything back, that's the day my life changed. A discovery that changed everything." One rainy afternoon, Armin helped an old herbal doctor near the market. The doctor sold natural medicines and ointments made from plants. Armin carried boxes for him and helped clean his stall. One day, as they worked, a famous eye specialist stopped by. Armin overheard their conversation. The doctor spoke of a rare herbal treatment that could help restore partial vision in certain cases of blindness. "Only a few have ever tried it," the specialist said, but the results were surprising. That night, Armin couldn't sleep. The words echoed in his head: restore vision, partial blindness, herbal treatment. He decided he had to try. For weeks, he worked extra hours, shining shoes until his hands ached. He saved every coin, buying the herbs and ingredients the old man had mentioned. The doctor, noticing his determination, helped him quietly, teaching him how to mix and prepare the remedy. When the potion was finally ready, Armin stared at the small bottle in his hand, his heart pounding. "This is for Ian," he whispered. The miracle. The next morning, Armin went to Ian's mansion. The caretaker looked at him suspiciously but allowed him to meet Ian. "I made something for you," Armin said nervously. "It might help your eyes. It's safe, I promise." Ian tilted his head. "Did a doctor make it?" "Kind of," Armin said with a grin. "A street doctor." Ian laughed and said, "Then I trust it." With the caretaker's permission, Armin applied the herbal drops every evening. Days passed. Nothing happened at first, but Armin never lost hope. He prayed silently each night, asking his late mother to bless Ian's eyes. And then, one morning, Ian screamed. "Armin! Armin, I see light. I can see something." Armin froze, his heart pounding. Tears filled his eyes as he ran to Ian. "You can really see?" Ian nodded, sobbing. "It's blurry, but I can see the sunlight." The doctors were stunned. They ran tests and confirmed that Ian's sight was indeed returning. Slowly, his vision improved over the following weeks. It was nothing short of a miracle, and everyone in the mansion wanted to meet the boy who made it happen. An unlikely friendship. It took them nearly an hour, asking people and walking carefully through the busy streets. But finally, Armin spotted the huge iron gates with shining lion heads on them. He led Ian to the front and pressed the bell. A tall guard opened the door, shocked to see a poor street boy holding the hand of the millionaire's son. "Where did you find him?" the guard asked roughly. Armin explained quickly. The guard scolded the missing driver over the phone and thanked Armin with a few notes of cash. But Armin shook his head. "I don't want money," he said softly. "Just make sure he's safe." And with that, he walked away into the night. The next day, as Armin sat polishing shoes at his usual spot, he heard a familiar voice. "Armin." He looked up, and there was Ian, smiling, holding the hand of an old caretaker. "I told Papa I wanted to see you again," Ian said happily. "He said I could visit you in the park." Armin grinned. "You really missed this dirty place?" Ian nodded. "It's not dirty. It smells like life." That was how their friendship began, an unlikely bond between a blind rich boy and a poor street kid. Every day after that, Ian's driver would bring him to the park. Armin would describe everything he saw: the color of the sky, the shape of the clouds, the children playing, the laughter, the way sunlight bounced off the leaves. Ian would listen with his eyes closed, smiling as though he could see every detail. "It's strange," Ian said one day. "When you talk, I can see better than when anyone else does." Armin smiled. "That's because I see with my heart, not my eyes." The dream. As days passed, their bond deepened. Armin would tell Ian stories of people on the streets, about how he dreamed of becoming a doctor someday, of helping those who couldn't afford medicine. Ian listened in awe. "But how will you do that without money?" Armin laughed. "Who knows? Maybe life will show me a way." Then Ian asked softly, "Do you think I'll ever see the world?" That question hit Armin like a knife. He looked at Ian's innocent face, at his closed eyes, and whispered, "My mother used to say miracles happen to those who believe. So, yes. One day, you will." He didn't know how, but he meant it with all his heart. Street kid cures blind boy, unaware his father was a millionaire, and changes his future. The city was waking up. The air was still cool, and the streets shimmered with the golden light of dawn. People hurried past, coffee in hand, chasing another busy day. But among the noise and the crowd, on a street corner near an old tea stall, sat a boy named Armin. He was about 15, barefoot, wearing a faded shirt that had seen too many rains. In front of him lay a wooden box filled with shoe polish and brushes. Every morning, he'd polish shoes for businessmen who barely looked at him, and every evening, he'd save a few coins to buy bread for himself and two other street kids who slept under the bridge. Armin had no parents, no home, and no dream left to chase. But there was something in his eyes, something quiet, kind, and unbroken. He believed, somehow, that the world could still be good. And one small act of kindness was about to prove him right. The boy in the park. One evening, as the sky burned orange and purple, Armin was packing his things when he heard soft sobs coming from the nearby park. He hesitated for a moment, then followed the sound. There, on a bench under a large banyan tree, sat a boy about 8 years old. He was neatly dressed in a white shirt and dark trousers, his hair combed perfectly, but his eyes were closed, unfocused, and trembling. Armin walked closer. "Hey, are you okay?" The boy turned his head toward the sound of his voice. "I can't find my driver," he said, his voice shaking. "He went to buy ice cream, and didn't come back." "Don't worry," Armin said softly, sitting beside him. "I'll help you find him." "What's your name?" "Ian," the boy whispered. "I can't see, you know. I'm blind." Armin's heart tightened. He'd seen many kinds of pain on the streets, but something about this boy's trembling voice cut through him. "I'll take care of you," Armin said gently. "Do you know where your house is?" Ian nodded. "It has big gates. With golden lions on them." Armin smiled faintly. "Golden lions? Sounds like a palace." Ian giggled. "That's what my mom used to call it." Armin stood up and offered his hand. "Come on then, Prince. Let's find your palace."